Working alone at night, sometimes the scariest thing isn't the darkness outside, but the quiet dread that builds within it. My name is James. For the last 2 years, I've worked the graveyard shift at a fast food restaurant. It's not a dream job, but it fits my schedule. I'm naturally awake at night, so handling the drive-through from 11 until dawn works for me. About a month back, things got strange. I was managing the window alone, which is normal after midnight. A car pulled up to the order speaker. A man's voice, nothing special, requested a large double cheeseburger meal with a soda. Standard. The odd part was at the payment window. He only cracked his tinted window enough to slide a card out. I never saw his face. He paid, took his receipt, then just drove off. He didn't stop for his food. I waited with the bag for a bit, then eventually set it aside. I ate it myself later. People are weird, I figured. No big deal. A week later, it happened again. Identical order, same routine, pay and leave. I thought it was a bizarre coincidence. On the third time, I knew it was the same person. Now I was suspicious, but hey, free meal, right? So I kept eating the mystery dinners and tried not to question it. This pattern continued for weeks. Every 4 or 5 nights between 1 and 3 a.m., the same order came through. I started to weirdly anticipate it. Then, one night at 2 a.m., I heard that familiar voice through the speaker. He placed the usual order, but then he added, "I hope you've been enjoying those burgers, Mr. Fletcher." My last name is Fletcher. I don't wear it on a tag. It's not visible anywhere. There is no way this stranger should know that. I stood frozen, my brain short-circuited. I started shouting into the mic, demanding to know who he was. No answer. This time, he didn't even come to pay. I heard an engine roar, and he was gone. I was shaken for the rest of my shift. That feeling of wrongness clung to me. But the real terror came when I got home. On my doorstep was a handwritten note. It read, "I know what you did. You have 72 hours." My hands trembled. I felt physically ill. I have no idea what I'm supposed to have done. I've racked my brain. I'm a normal guy. I work, I go home. I don't have secrets like this. I didn't sleep. I just sat on my couch with every light on, waiting. The next night at work, he returned. No game this time. He didn't order. He just spoke. He told me to write down an address on the outskirts of town, a place I didn't know. Then he said I had 2 days to deliver $10,000 there. I almost laughed. It was absurd, but his tone held no humor. As he drove off, the fear came crashing back. I don't have that kind of money. I decided to ignore it. A prank, a scam it had to be. I didn't call the police. I should have. 3 nights later, I was home, trying to relax after work. Suddenly, glass exploded inward. A rock had been hurled through my window. I hit the floor, thinking it was gunfire. By the time I looked outside, the street was empty. This time, I called the police. I told them everything, gave them the address. They said they'd look into it, told me to be careful. They didn't do much. Without camera proof, they said their hands were tied. That was 3 days ago. I've called out sick since, but hiding doesn't help when they know where you live. I'm trapped in this until it's resolved. My only lead is the card he used to pay those first few times. Maybe the police can trace it. Why me? I have no clue. I just hope it ends here. The most dangerous predators don't stalk you in the wild. They find you where you're supposed to be safe. Our second story comes from Alex. After college, with a degree that hasn't opened many doors, I've been driving for rideshare and delivery apps. It's not a career, but it pays. I mostly work weekend nights when demand is high. It feels like a night shift. A few weeks ago, I was about to log off around 1:30 a.m. when a final request came in. The pickup was downtown, but the destination was far into the rural edges of the county. The fare was too good to refuse. The passenger was a normal young woman. The 40-minute drive was quiet. After I dropped her off, I was alone in the middle of nowhere, facing a long drive back. About 10 minutes into my return trip, I saw a car stopped in the road, hazards blinking. 2 people stood in front of it, waving their arms. My instinct was to keep going, but I couldn't just leave them. I stopped about 20 feet away, rolling my window down just an inch. It was a middle-aged couple. The woman spoke with a frantic yet weirdly practiced energy. She said they were warning drivers about a collapsed bridge up ahead, that they'd almost driven off it themselves. She pointed into the darkness, insisting that if I kept going, I'd end up in the river. Naturally, I asked for an alternate route. The husband described a turnoff about halfway to the bridge, a dirt road through the woods that would reconnect me to the highway. I thanked them and drove on, but something felt deeply off. Their story, their delivery, it wasn't right. I decided to trust my gut. I would keep going my original way. A mile later, I saw the turnoff they'd mentioned. It was a narrow, unpaved trail vanishing into black trees. I drove past. A few minutes later, I reached the bridge. It was perfectly intact, not a scratch. I crossed it without issue and got home. Even though nothing happened, I couldn't sleep. What if I had taken that road? A few days later, in the daylight, I drove back. I had to see. The couple was gone, of course, but at the entrance to that dirt path, a new sign was nailed to a tree. It read, "Dead End." That sign wasn't there the other night. I would have seen it. Someone put it up recently. I pulled over, engine off. In the daylight, the path looked less threatening, just a dirt track into the woods. Curiosity overpowered fear. I got out of my car. Immediately, a bad feeling washed over me. I stood at the edge, peering in. As I turned to leave, a scream ripped through the silent afternoon air. A woman's scream, coming from deep within those woods. I was in my car and speeding away before I even processed the sound. I haven't been back, but I can't stop thinking about it. What was down that road? Story 3 is from Mark, who worked overnight security at a warehouse. The shift was 11 to 7, solitary and quiet. My routine was clock in, patrol, watch cameras. The warehouse stored industrial supplies, nothing exciting. One cold night, light snow was falling. Around 1:30 a.m., a motion alert pinged on a loading dock camera. This happened sometimes. I checked the feed. Nothing. But the alerts kept coming, every 10 or 15 minutes, always from that same camera. The movement was always just at the edge of the frame, like something was teasing the sensor. By 2:30, I'd had numerous alerts, only that one camera. I went outside to check. Fresh snow, silent night. My footprints were the only ones. Everything was locked. I went back inside. 20 minutes later, I heard a sound from deep within the warehouse, a heavy metallic scrape, like something being dragged. I checked all the interior feeds. Empty aisles. The sound came again, louder, followed by a bang. I cycled the cameras. Feed 1 through 5, normal. Camera 6, 3 seconds of static. When it returned, the angle had shifted. It was pointing slightly to the left, like someone had bumped it. That was it.
I grabbed my flashlight and radio and entered the main storage area. It was a cavernous space, shelves towering in the dim half-light. Halfway down the central aisle, I heard footsteps, clear human footsteps, 2 aisles over. I froze. They stopped. The silence was heavier than the sound. I finally spoke up, announcing myself as security, demanding whoever was there to show themselves. No response. The rest of that walk was pure tension, expecting a confrontation at every turn. I found no one. That was almost worse. I knew, absolutely knew, someone had been in there with me. The day shift found nothing, no signs of entry. I could tell they didn't fully believe me, but I know what I heard. I know what I saw on that camera. Loneliness at night isn't just an absence of people. It's a canvas for the worst of your imagination. Our final account is from Chloe. I worked the overnight desk at a 24-hour gym. Members used key cards, so often it was just me, alone, watching cameras. One night around 2 a.m. after my rounds, I settled in to monitor the feeds. A few regulars were there. Then I noticed a man I didn't recognize on a treadmill in the far corner. What caught my eye was his speed. I pulled up the equipment monitor. He was running at over 9 miles per hour, and he didn't stop. 10 minutes, 15, he never slowed. I looked closer at the camera feed. His appearance was unsettling. Messy hair, ragged clothes. His face was completely still, staring ahead. Then I saw his feet. He was barefoot. He'd been sprinting barefoot for 15 minutes. I knew I had to say something. Shoes are required. I left the office, heart pounding. As I turned the corner, I saw it. The treadmill was slick with blood. His feet were torn to shreds, splattering with every stride. His face remained that dead, open-mouthed stare. I was terrified. I yelled at him to stop. He didn't look at me. He just muttered in a dry, rasping voice, "Are you there?" I yelled again. He repeated the same phrase, "Are you there?" The blood pooled below the machine. I ran back to the office to call the police. I glanced at the monitor. He was no longer staring ahead. He was staring directly into the security camera, still sprinting, still bleeding. Then he screamed, a raw, inhuman shriek. He leapt off the treadmill and sprinted out of frame. I frantically switched camera views. He was nowhere in the main gym. I checked the employee hallway feed. He was there, 6 feet from the office door. I didn't know how he got in. I slammed the lock door shut. The handle jiggled violently. I was on the phone with dispatch as he screamed and shook the door. They said officers were 5 minutes out. Those were the longest minutes of my life. Then, suddenly, it stopped. The screaming, the shaking. He was gone from the camera. The police arrived, searched, and found nothing. I quit the next day. I still don't know what he wanted or what he was. I only know the lock on that door saved me. Working nights opens a different world, one where normal rules seem to bend. If these true stories sent a chill down your spine, please help us out. Hit the like button for the channel Thrilling Nightmares. It supports us more than you know. Stay aware and trust your instincts.